disrespect is a test, and it's happening all the time in your life. And exploding or going silent is how you lose. But it all depends on the place that you are being silent from, because exploding, you're always going to lose. You must be silent from not a place of fear. You must be silent because you're choosing to be silent. Because ignoring disrespect can often be a very effective way of handling it. Now, I have been on one end of the spectrum of not being able to handle disrespect and letting it get the better of me. And I've also been on the spectrum of handling it well. And I've seen two outcomes from these two ways of handling disrespect. And more often than not, the reaction, you lose the energy if you react. And the time that this happened was at my sales job. So I was up in Bristol, and this job was a lot of pressure for me at that age, and I was letting it get to me. And there was this guy that was sitting in front of me who was older, and he was much more, I didn't like him, but he was much more confident than me on the phone. And at the summer party, we were just talking, we were quite drunk, and he was giving me some advice, and I was taking it on board in a way that I shouldn't have been, because I was taking it from the wrong person. And this was because I was nervous. And he then went and got me a drink, and he put a straw in the drink, and he announced it to everyone. I put a straw in Callum's drink because he sounds gay on the phone. And I snapped. And I was like, well, I might sound gay on the phone, but I'll beat the shit out of you in real life. And I lost. And it proved him right. If this is landing, hit a like so this can reach the person that needs it. When you react like that, you prove the person doing it right. So I went back into work the next day. I felt like shit the whole weekend. I was kicking myself. I've now absorbed it. It's now beating me, and I apologized, kicked it under the rug, and it was all fine. Now, if I had then not reacted and responded to what he had said to me, it would have held up a mirror to him, and it would have proved him wrong, because he's not right for doing it, but I'm not right for reacting. And he would have done it because he's insecure, and he felt like he could pick on me because he saw me as weak. And if I'd responded, it would have held up a mirror to him, and it would have made him look like the bitch. Now, not all disrespect is equal, and sometimes it warrants a bigger reaction depending on how much pressure that person's putting on you. But small jabs are going to come throughout all of your life, and as you grow up, they become much more sophisticated, so it warrants a much smarter and strategic response. And the way I've learned to handle these smaller jabs, you've just got to rise above these people, because they're doing it to test you, to pressure test you, to see if you're a bitch or not. And if you give a massive reaction, you prove them right. So the way I've learned to handle these small jabs is to make the other person feel dumb. And you do this by responding and making maybe a light joke on them. And there was a time I was basically there was this dead fox on the road, or dying fox, and me and this Domino's driver were helping to move out the road so I didn't get killed. And this guy comes up, ranting and raving. He was a little bit drunk. And he's just like, what are you doing? Are you on the phone to the RSPCA? And I was like, well, yeah, I'm trying to sort this out. Like, I don't really like these foxes either, but you know, in the situation, I feel a bit bad for it. And he was like, well, it's a rat. And I'm like, oh, what? I'll get my dog on it and this and that. And then I said, all right, mate, well, if you don't want to help, just walk on. And just said it like that. And he then went, well, it's my house and you're in front of my house. And I said, well, It's now your responsibility. And just laughed. And if I'd then matched him where he was and reacted, he would have got the reaction that he was fishing for, and he would have fed off my energy and gained energy himself. But me reacting like that, kind of nonchalantly, but cracking a joke, trying to making him look stupid, then just reflects it back on him that he's being an idiot. And you can't help but see that if you respond. The other person can't help but see that if you respond. And, he went off ranting and raving, I'm going to get my dog. But me saying that, he then left the situation. And that's very telling. The foundation always applies the same. It's about control and stability. But when you're avoiding it, you've then got to absorb it, because that energy's got to go somewhere, and it's going to go inside of you. And then it's going to affect your confidence. And that's when the issue gets bad, because confidence is absolutely everything. And you'll pay a massive debt if you let it fester inside of you than if you just stood your ground then and there and nipped it in the bud, and then you retain your confidence. And it's a much cheaper cost than paying it further and further down the line for a long time, which just slowly erodes your confidence. And it goes for any situation. A girl, your friends, work, colleagues. You've got to assert your boundaries early on. And if people cross them too many times, you've just got to walk away. Give people chances, but know when to walk away. The person disrespecting you should be the one that loses energy, not you. That's the win.